Hello, welcome. I'm Isabela Santos, and we're here with Aleks Svetski, the owner and founder of Amber app. How are you today?
I'm doing really well, darling. You said my name right, which is fantastic. Everyone always gets it wrong the first time. It's either Alexandra, and it's like, no, I'm not a girl, or Svenski. No one can say it, so well done.
So we are here right now at the Bitcoin conference of 2021. And can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing here?
I am here I'm giving a couple talks while I'm here. So I'll be on a panel about why Bitcoin toxicity is very important. It's going to be a really unique talk. So there'll be 4 of us on the panel. And then I'm going to give a talk about, it's called Fiat Fascism versus Bitcoin Sovereignty. And the idea is how the traditional money system is destroying not only the social fabric of the world, but the environment. It's destroying education, it's destroying the economy, it's destroying businesses, it's destroying everything from inside. And Bitcoin is a method of reversing the damage that the central planners and idiots who print money are doing to the world. So that's sort of the primary reason why I'm here. I also run a company called Amber, which is a dollar cost averaging app for Bitcoin. It allows people to accumulate Bitcoin on autopilot without having to think about it. So I'm going to be talking to people about Amber because we'll be coming to the US in about a month. And so, yeah, that's...
Well, that's exciting. How many countries is Amber part of right now?
Just one. So just Australia at the moment. So US will be number 2.
And what's your game plan of tackling that huge market?
I like to take a grassroots approach. So me being here talking to people about it is going to be one of the initial things. We have a very strong product. So we're as opposed to being a marketing driven company, we're more of a product driven company.
Okay.
And we want the product to sell itself to users. So I'm going to be going around letting key people know about, hey, we're here, check out the app. Easiest way to buy Bitcoin. You can accumulate, you can automate, the withdrawal process to your wallet and all of that. So as I do that, I'll probably be going to meetups, I'll be speaking at different conferences. We'll obviously do some sort of online marketing and things like that, probably more in the sphere of finding voices of reason. So I guess some people might call them influencers, but I'm going to be very specific about the podcasters and writers and bloggers and stuff like that understand Bitcoin's raison d'etre, and we'll be going to them and saying we've got this fantastic product which allows people to accumulate the most important money on the planet, and you're talking about this, so there's a good relationship. Would you like to support Amber and in the process earn some money? So it'll be referrals, word of mouth, and authentic Bitcoin influencers in the space. That's how we're going to tackle it.
Wow, that's super interesting. And how did you start and how did you get the idea of Amber?
So, where do I start? I've been around markets for many, many, many years, since I was 18, 19. And I was trading actually in 2007, so before the GFC. And made a bunch of money, then I lost everything, and I basically started my 20s $250,000 in debt. So I started from behind, and I had to dig my way out of that, and I didn't start at zero. I literally started in minus, and I traded. I did all sorts of stupid things throughout my entire life, made money, lost money, made money, lost money, when all I had to do was buy $10 worth of Amazon every week. That's all I had to do. I'd be a multi-millionaire by now. But I was trying to outsmart the market. I was trying to get creative. I was doing derivatives. I was, leverage long, trying to go short the market. All this stupidity. And I should have just kept it simple. So with Bitcoin, since 2016, I've been running around telling people to buy Bitcoin. And usually what they say is, I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know how much to buy. Can I trade it? And all this stuff. And I'm like, no, just buy a little bit and hold it. That's what you want to do. It's you wouldn't, in the same way, you wouldn't get US dollars and try and trade between US dollars and Venezuelan bolivars. Like, it's just stupid, right? So you have the superior money. Bitcoin is superior money to anything else on the planet. So what you want to do is you want to move out of crap money and you want to move into good money. So my whole thing was, how do I help people accumulate or acquire Bitcoin in a manner that is sensible? And as I kept trying to get people in, someone was like, why don't you just build something? And I was like, you know what? Maybe I will. So I started building it, and here we are.
Oh, wow. And then 2 years later, 2017, no?
The idea started forming in my head in 2017. I incorporated the company in 2018. The first year was a disaster because there was 4 co-founders and 3 of them were shit, so I'm like the only one that's left. But one of them in particular, he was, how can I say? He talked himself up as like a brilliant developer. And this is the problem with a non-technical founder running a technical, like a technology business, is that I'm technical enough to kind of get a sense of what's going on, but I'm not technical enough to know like the intricacies of what's going on under the hood. Exactly. So, and he was supposed to be DevOps, our CTO, and everything like that. But what we found at the end of it, like we had a series of blow-ups in the first year, like in April, then in June, then in September, and then at the end of the year, I finally got rid of him. And he kept saying like he's doing all this stuff and it's really complicated, like we've got to be set up for security so that when we scale, like all this crap. Turned out he was fucking at home playing games. So it was just this big scam for a whole year. So
and you paid him all that year?
Yeah, like the business almost died. Like, we almost died, and like, and I knew something was going on, but like, his best friend was one of the other co-founders, and he, like, even his best friend in the beginning was protecting him. He's like, man, the stuff Tyler does is really important. Like, we can't get in his way. And I'm like, okay, fine, but like, I'm not seeing anything.
That's why you can't hire friends.
Well, I wasn't his friend, but yeah, they were friends.
Exactly.
So it was a mess. So like I should have trusted my instincts in the beginning, but I didn't. Like, I kept getting, convinced by other people in the team, and the investors were also scared of losing our lead technical guy. So anyway, but at the end, my instincts were right. Got rid of him. So it was really in 2019 where we started functioning as a company properly. So yeah, 2019, 2020, and now we're here 2.5 years.
And what's an advice that you would give someone that's starting a company? Like, this journey, it's a lonely journey to entrepreneurship, so...
Don't do it.
No!
Get a job at McDonald's. You'll make more money.
I think you can. It's like $17 an hour now.
Get a job at McDonald's. Live at your mom's place. Put the rest of your money in Bitcoin. You'll do much better than I did. I swear to God. That's the best advice I can give you.
Says the guy that's in a Bitcoin conference in Miami, traveling around the world. But do you regret any of the choices that you have made? Is there something that you would have made differently?
I have one regret in life, and that's that I dismissed Bitcoin in the beginning. That's the biggest regret. Like, because I looked at it as like digital internet funny money. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'll buy gold. And that's the one regret I've got, because like I was ignorant about that. I don't really have any other regrets. I mean, I kind of say the McDonald's thing half jokingly, but half for real, because like there's this idea that everyone should run around and be an entrepreneur, and it's absolutely not for everyone. In fact, it is for a minority of people. Like, I would say 1% of people on the planet have the natural predisposition to be an entrepreneur. Maybe 10% have the predisposition to sort of be self-employed and work for themselves, but not really hire a group of people. But the other 90% genuinely are better suited to working for somebody else. So they genuinely are, because they're either got a more of a supporter personality, they're more of a process personality, they might be more of a systems and architecture personality or whatever. Like, the beauty of an entrepreneur is someone who is not really capable of doing the specific things themselves, but is really good at forming a vision. And look, there's also a big element of luck. So there's actually what I would call really dumb entrepreneurs out there who literally fell into a gold mine by accident, not because they were intelligent or not because they were persistent, but they were just luckily at the right place at the right time, and they made it big. Now, those guys usually go on to fail down the track because they fucked up. Like when I was young, I landed in an industry like that, and I made a shitload of money, and then I lost it all afterwards. So I think, you know, it really varies. But like if I come back to it all, like, you know, vision, grit, persistence, perseverance, like, you know, the ability to outlast the difficulty is probably the most important character trait of an entrepreneur. And the ability to, like, through the sheer force of will, as I said earlier, to bring something from imagination to reality, that's it's one of the most important traits.
Wow.
Long answer, sorry.
No, it was amazing. Because you're right. It's like, I feel like entrepreneurs are like the people in the orchestra that tell everybody what to do, but the person doesn't actually play the instrument. And I have another question for you. So you were mentioning at the beginning of the interview, what is that you would have invested in Amazon. So what is the Amazon of today?
There is no Amazon of today. The only thing worth putting your money in is Bitcoin, nothing else. Nothing else. Everything, when priced in Bitcoin, everything is going to zero. So in other words, if you measure what you buy today in dollars, it's going to appreciate in value or perceptively appreciate in value. So if you buy a house, $1 million today, in 10 years time it's probably going to be 2 million. That's not so much because the house is going up in value. That's because the dollar's falling in value. So people don't realize the difference. They think they're getting rich, but the dollar is buying less and less and less every year. So it's not that the house is going up in value, it's that your money is losing value. Now, if you price that house in Bitcoin, maybe that house is worth today 20 Bitcoin. I guarantee you in 10 years time, that house will be worth maybe half a Bitcoin. So everything on the planet is losing value against Bitcoin. There's no point in buying Amazon or any tech stock or anything other than buying Bitcoin. Like it's the only place you should put your money.
What about other cryptocurrencies?
They're all scams. 100% all of them. So the whole point of Bitcoin is that we are trying to replace the idea of a ruler. So like the idea of a group of people that can control the rules. We're replacing that with a set of rules that nobody can change, that nobody can control, and that we voluntarily opt into because the rules are transparent. Bitcoin's the only network in the world that is like that. It's got no leader. There is no group issuing it. There's no people managing Bitcoin. It's a network that lives on the internet, and it lives, and its rules are enforced by each individual who runs a Bitcoin node. Whereas all the other cryptos, whether it's that big scam Ethereum, whether it's Cripple, whether it's any other crypto, they're all run by somebody, and they're all issued by someone. So when I go and tell you to buy Bitcoin, I don't get a benefit, zero, because I want you genuinely to have a better money. When I'm an Ethereum person and I'm telling you to buy Ethereum, I'm selling you my shit. So you're on the other end. You're buying somebody else's fiat money, because Ethereum, all these other cryptos, they're just another form of fiat. Like the whole point of Bitcoin is that we want to destroy the idea that somebody has the power to issue the money. Because if we think about, like, I'll do a quick history lesson here, is like, if you think about what money is. In fact, let's do this interactively.
Okay.
How do you define money?
Well, I know money was a piece of paper to resemble gold. So you would have gold, but you would have that piece of paper that would say you have X amount of gold. But nowadays, there is no gold to back up the money. We just print money while the government prints money,
So let's go deeper. Why is gold money?
Because it's a natural resource that back in the day it was praised and viewed as like that you had class, you had money. Well, yeah, it comes down to money, no?
Sort of. Okay, what did we have before gold?
We would trade.
In what way?
Well, if, let's say somebody had corn as a crop and another person had I don't know, like wool from their animals. They would swap and make each other, give each other what they needed.
What if I've got corn, you've got wool, but I want bananas?
Then you find a tree.
So a lot of people see this is where a lot of people go wrong. So people think barter was a form of money. It never really was. That never really happened. I mean, maybe in small pockets, yes, but money is the oldest technology that humans ever created. In fact, it's the first language. So what money represents is each individual's time and energy. So when I input, when I take my time and my energy and I mix it with a natural resource, I create something of value that I might value, that someone else might value, and that I might want to exchange with someone. Now, what money is, it's almost like, I call it like the fabric that binds all of society. Is it enables you to do what you do, me to do what I do, measure it in something, and instead of you and I having to directly trade our goods and services, because I might not want what you have, you might not want what I have, we can actually trade the abstraction. Okay, so money, whatever good represents money, or whatever money is, it has to perform three functions very well. It has to be a store of value, it needs to be a good medium of exchange, and it needs to be a unit of account. So you should be able to measure other things with the money. Now, for money to perform that, it needs to have a series of attributes. So it needs to be portable, it needs to be durable, it needs to be recognizable, it needs to be what's called fungible, so it should be the same everywhere. And most importantly, it needs to be scarce. Like, so to give you an idea, like one of the earliest forms of money we had was salt. So the word salary actually comes from the word salt. It was like, it was something we used as money in the early days. Now, that's what's considered a commodity money. But even before that, like the way money actually started was, let's say you and me were like cavemen and we had a little baby. Like, I would go out and hunt the animal. You would pick the berries and the little kid would clean the cave, right? We kept a ledger of like basically promises, the things that we did. And money is just merely like a ledger of, of work. Like literally it represents, that time and effort. So anyway, without getting too carried away here in the philosophy, it's money will be with us from the beginning of time until humans no longer exist. It's the one language that is always, and it's the most important language of all because it represents our human action, right? Our time and effort. What we as human beings do is we look for an object that can best represent this idea of money. And gold, over thousands of years, succeeded in doing that because gold is scarce. It's durable. It's portable. It's fungible. Like gold in America is the same as gold in China, is the same as gold in Australia, so it's recognizable everywhere. So it had these natural attributes that no other element on the planet had. Now, as society became richer, the same amount of gold bought more and more and more stuff. So what we needed to do was we needed to make gold more divisible because in the beginning, one nugget of gold maybe bought you one chicken. Yeah. But after thousands of years, one nugget of gold bought you a whole fucking house. So it's like, if you still want to buy a chicken with the gold, you can't do it. So we put the gold into vaults and they issued paper against the gold.
I wasn't too bad.
Yeah, so you were right at a particular point in time, right? And then somewhere along the line, a bunch of geniuses realized, well, no one knows how much gold's in there, so let's just issue more paper. But remember, money is supposed to measure time and effort, time and energy. If one group can create money out of thin air, you and me have to trade our lifeblood for money. So what happens is, because society is a closed system, if someone can create out of thin air, the rest of us pay for it by our money being devalued. So you and I are getting poor while they're making themselves rich. And that's an unfair game. That's like playing Monopoly and all of us are playing by the rules, but one guy is like just pulling money out of the The bank, exactly. So it's an unfair game. So Bitcoin breaks that. Bitcoin says nobody can create the money. Nobody can issue the money. It's a fixed protocol with fixed rules. You can voluntarily opt into it. If you want to change the rules, you can, but what happens is you get forked off Bitcoin. So like the reason there's so many other cryptos is people who wanted to create their own version. So what happens is they create their own version, they're off the network. So they're not on Bitcoin anymore, they're on some other shitcoin version. And Bitcoin is enforced by the people who choose to adopt Bitcoin as their monetary asset because it's not issued by anyone. So over time, in the same way as people wanted to move away from seashells or salt and they wanted to hold gold because it was a superior form of money because it had superior attributes, Bitcoin has all the superior attributes. Like, it is not run by anyone. It's organic. It's issued. We know the rules. It's fungible. It's portable. It's divisible. It's the perfect store of value. It's the perfect medium of exchange. It's like, it's perfect money. So you would have to be crazy to hold shit money when perfect money exists. So over time, there's going to be all this noise, but everything will converge onto Bitcoin in the end.
And what happens when there's not enough Bitcoins? Because I know by the year like 2140, the 21th million Bitcoin is going to be mined. So what happens then?
The same thing that happens with all money. You have a service. I need it. I pay you in Bitcoin.
But what if not everybody will buy Bitcoin? There's people that don't have phones. How will they be able to buy Bitcoin?
They'll work for it.
But it's not tangible.
Why not?
So how, let's use people that don't have cell phones, because there's some people that don't have cell phones nowadays. What do you do?
Go to somewhere with a cell phone. Alternatively, as the world continues to develop, human beings are creatures that look for opportunity. We look to build things. So I know in the next 10 years, I mentioned this to you the other day, I want to build cities. So I'm going to go to places where it's underdeveloped.
Okay.
I'm going to want to build stuff. Who do you think I'm going to hire? And what do you think I'm going to pay them in? Bitcoin. Simple as that. Like, I won't. They don't need a bank account. They don't need their identity. They don't need nothing. They just need, and by that time, smartphones will be $10. I mean, I've already got a friend of mine who's a good friend of mine, and what he's doing is creating like what's called an economy in a box, where he's they're going to supply, like they'll go to a region. They're going to give like, say 5,000 cheap smartphones, like secondhand smartphones, so they'll be worth $100 each or whatever. A set of solar panels, some sort of water device so they can, have clean water. And on these smartphones will be like educational content about Bitcoin, a Bitcoin wallet, and like online micro tasks that they can do to, earn sats. Like, so if you're familiar with Bitcoin, like, the same way as dollars have cents, Bitcoin has satoshis, which is the small denomination. The difference, like, in $1 you have 100 cents, in one Bitcoin you have 100 million satoshis, right? So people can earn sats for doing these tasks, so they can, generate some income. Now, what we're doing is we're bringing Bitcoin into these communities, but, I mean, we're not going to give away the phones. These people are going to, earn the phones because, part of what they're earning is going to go towards paying off the phone. But anyway, like, what's going to happen over time is opportunity is going to spread, and all of that opportunity is going to be funded in Bitcoin. It's not going to be funded in toilet paper money from the government or some, surveillance money from China. Like, Bitcoin is like freedom money. So that's how it spreads. So we don't need to keep increasing the money supply. All we do is we keep increasing the prosperity, and people can earn Bitcoin. And think about this for a second. If you're a person in Africa at the moment and you're living in Zimbabwe, let's say you get a job and you start earning money. By the end of the week, your money is worth half the amount that it was at the beginning of the week. So you can't get ahead. It's impossible. But if you're earning in Bitcoin, your Bitcoin is worth more at the end of the week than it was at the beginning of the week. And not just because of speculation and investing, but because Bitcoin is better money. More and more people are buying it, and even when we get to a point when Bitcoin is saturated, the more value society creates, the more the money is worth. So we have this lie that we've been taught that over time money should lose value. It's so not true. Money over time should actually gain value. That's what it's supposed to do, because if you think about how technological progress works, when the first iPhone came out versus now, like, this iPhone is 100 times better than the first one, but it costs the same amount. So technology actually drives the cost of things down. So which means money is actually worth, like, money buys you more over time. But we've inverted that by inflating, by printing money. So it's like, it's all backwards. So Bitcoin fixes all of that crap. So anyway.
Well, if entrepreneurship doesn't work, you can be a teacher. I think exactly, Professor Svetski. Well, there you have it, guys. That was Ecom Daily News, and this was Aleks Svetski, the owner and CEO of Amber. So don't forget to download your app and invest in Amber.
Thank you very much, Isabella.
Thank you so much for being here. Bye.